I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Hi, I'm Luke Ryan for JoBlo.com and welcome to Movie Endings Explained, where we'll be taking a look at some of the more ambiguous and discussed movie endings that have left audiences debating their true meaning long after the credits have rolled. Previously on Movie Endings Explained, we took a look at the 1982 sci-fi classic Blade Runner from director Ridley Scott, a rain-drenched, neon-lit dystopian future, the backdrop for a manhunt, as Harrison Ford's Rick Deckard, a Blade Runner, tracks down rogue replicants, synthetic androids built for purpose but with too much emotion to stick to their jobs, breaking free in an attempt to become more human. The primary mystery of Blade Runner as the film reaches its finale is whether or not Deckard, in a cruel twist, is a replicant himself. It's an idea that has no definitive answer, especially as Ridley Scott believes that Deckard is a replicant and Harrison Ford sees his character as human, but most of all because it's never outright revealed. So over 30 years later, when a sequel was announced, fans of the original film were eager to see if the Deckard mystery would be solved, particularly as Harrison Ford had signed on to reprise his role. Blade Runner 2049, directed by Denis Villeneuve, follows the same world, 30 years after the events of the original film. Our main character is Agent K, played by Ryan Gosling, a Blade Runner, only this time we're shown right away that he is a replicant himself. In Blade Runner, the creator of replicants was Tyrell, but now Nyanda Wallace, played by Jared Leto, oversees the production of replicants. At the beginning of the film, Kay is sent on a mission to retire a farmer, known to be a rogue replicant, and on the farm he finds a box, buried under a tree. It contains human remains, a woman who had a baby and died during childbirth. Only they find a serial number on her bones. A replicant. This is thought to be impossible, and thus Kay continues tracking the case to find out more about the supposed replicant child. He eventually finds his way to Las Vegas, where he meets Rick Deckard, who's been in hiding for all these years. We, the audience, realize very quickly that the female replicant who died during childbirth was in fact Rachel from the first film. Knowing that she left with Deckard at the end of Blade Runner, naturally you would assume that they had the child together. And so the Deckard mystery thickens. But concurrent with this is the mystery of Kay's true origin himself. He knows he is a replicant and is fully aware of having fake memory implants to make him feel more human. And yet he finds himself questioning whether his memory of hiding a wooden horse as a child is actually real. When he finds the wooden horse, it leads him straight to Deckard. At this point we begin to suspect that Kay may still be a replicant, but he may also be the replicant, the child of Rachel and Deckard. Deckard is captured and Kay meets a group of rebel replicants, freedom fighters, who operate underground and help to keep Rachel's child safe and secret.
Deckard only wanted his baby to be safe. And she is. When the time comes, I will show her to the world, and she will lead our army.
She?
Of course. Rachel had a daughter. With my own eyes, I saw her come. I dressed her in blue when it was time for her to go.
It was a boy that you hid.
That is just a piece of the puzzle.
So now we know that Kay is not the replicant child, who by this point is the hottest target around, with Wallace doing everything he can to track this anomaly down. To Wallace, he can't produce replicants fast enough and is trying to create replicants that can procreate, but he's failing. The replicant child would be everything he needs to crack the code of changing the replicant production business forever. But back to the rebel replicants. They believe that the daughter will be the key to the replicants' revolution, and they want Kay to kill Deckard. At the end of the film, instead of killing Deckard, Kay saves him, killing Wallace's right-hand woman Love, and takes him to meet his daughter. Earlier on in the film, Kay had gone to Stelline Laboratory to meet a woman who lives in isolation due to her illness and creates memory implants for replicants. He asks her to check if his memory of the wooden horse is real.
Someone left this, yes. This happened.
When Kay finds out the child was a girl, he remembers Anna Stelline's reaction to seeing the memory, her emotional response, how she had been kept safe and secret. She is Deckard and Rachel's daughter. Injured from the fight with Love, Kay lays down on the steps outside the laboratory as Deckard goes inside to finally see his daughter for the very first time. That's Blade Runner 2049. While the central mystery of the story, the replicant child, is wrapped up rather neatly and needs little explaining, the overarching mystery of Deckard's true nature still endures. Is Anna a half-human, half-replicant, or is she the first fully fledged child born of two other replicants? When Deckard was captured, Wallace insinuates to him that when he first met Rachel all those years ago, it was all by design, that Tyrell had foresaw the key to the future of replicant production in engineering reproduction. Wallace tells Deckard that perhaps his meeting with Rachel was programmed, that he was built to fall in love with her, which would of course negate any feelings he had for Rachel, as it was all pre-planned and built into his wiring. Deckard's response to this is simple.
I know what's real.
And that line takes Blade Runner 2049 from a great film to an outstanding one. The choice to continue to leave Deckard's origin up for debate was the right move. However, not everyone feels this way about it. Ridley Scott, producer on the film and one of the uncredited writers, sees this matter in a very black and white way. He says, Tyrell is a trillionaire. He has created perfect beings that, for all intents and purposes, there is no telling the difference from humans. Then he says, you know what, I'm going to create an AI. I'll have a male and a female. They will not know that they're both AIs. I'll have them meet each other. They will fall in love. They will consummate. And they will have a child. That's the first film. The second film is, what happens to the baby? And yet, keeping in Blade Runner tradition of the artists working on the film having differing opinions, director Denis Villeneuve sees things a little bit less straightforward. He says, the beauty of Harrison Ford's character is the idea of doubt, the paranoia, the fact that the character is not sure about his own identity and the audience is unsure. Instead of bringing a certain answer, we increase the paranoia and how these characters deal with a reality that is shifting in front of their eyes, not knowing where they are from, not sure if they are objects or subjects. I liked to keep that question alive. Vulnerability that is provoked inside him is his weak point, not being sure if he's real or not. I know Ridley would disagree with me, but for me it's good that we don't know the answer. Now, I would tend to side with the director on this one, as whichever side of the fence you would like to sit on, Deckard being a human or a replicant, you can comfortably enjoy both films now with your answer feeling justified. There's wriggle room for the audience's imagination. When Deckard says I know what's real, he could mean I know I'm human, and I know that I'm real. Or he could mean I know I'm not human, but that doesn't mean that anything I've experienced and loved and lost isn't real.